Your boss is a Leo?
Yeah. If your boss is a Leo, he likes to be praised. Like he or she likes to be recognised for the skill that he has.
What motivates your boss? What gets him or her out of bed in the morning? Well, the elements in astrology can help you with that. First of all, we're going to dive straight in with fire, because fire is spontaneous and is excited and can't wait to get to the point. If your boss is strong in the fire element, him or her is enthusiastic, upbeat, loves a challenge, can be quite competitive. They have a lot of faith in themselves. They can be a bit sort of overblown ego sometimes if your boss has a lot of fire. What do the rest of you think about fire bosses? I've got more, but...
Well, I think fire, generally what you said, spontaneous. Fire bosses, I guess, would be, if they have sun sign in fire, they would usually like to get their own way. So, you know, if they don't necessarily want yes people, but maybe they want to feel like they're important in some way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they can be very inspirational. They can inspire others with their enthusiasm. They can provide, if they're a boss of a company, a big company for example, or a small company, they're the ones that can provide the vision and the ideal that the rest of the elements have to work towards in various different ways. Rod?
Yeah, well, I think the point you make is very precise to describe the fire type boss, because they are very I think it's uplifting. They will encourage you and they like push you forward. Yeah, that's a one thing, and I think it's very pleasant to work with them. But sometimes when you little bit laid back or something, maybe you will experience a little bit challenge, move on, lazy bastard.
I think fire are usually pretty good at looking after people who are struggling. If they feel somebody wants a bit of inspiration, I think that's really good. They're really good at that. But if somebody is a more slow, methodical worker who needs lots of time and space, the fire boss might run out of patience with them a little bit. So what you were saying,
And the fire bosses can actually get themselves burned out if they're not too careful, and they can demand so much of their employers. Their employers can easily feel burnt out. If you don't have much fire in your chart and you'll have a boss who's very fiery, you can feel exhausted and burnt out and completely wrung out at the end of the week.
Yeah, you can feel overwhelmed. Sometimes fire bosses are so dramatic and full of inspiration and kind of, you know, want to kind of push to get things done. They're not given mostly to a great deal of patience. So it's like, you know, you can just feel overwhelmed. You can feel a bit kind of dominated. You know, and it can be quite difficult. And for some people, it'll push them into becoming extremely quiet. Or trying to rise to the challenge. And if it's not natural for you, that's actually sometimes a bit difficult.
I just noticed you mentioned one thing is element imbalance. Like if we really lack of fire, or we don't really have that fire. Like in my chart, I don't have any fire in the traditional planet, and then but it's very interesting. We attract, we will really attract to people who have a lot of fire. So they just move you on, move you, and they push you.
And you can overdo it if you've got that. Sometimes you can either not do the fire at all and let your boss or someone else do it for you, or overdo it in a compensatory way.
That's right. Yeah, so it's like. It can make you feel very, it can actually inspire you as well as making you feel overwhelmed, but you can see it as a challenge that you can find your own inspiration. Find people that have that kind of energy, that can inspire you with enthusiasm, you know, bring out sides of yourself that you don't normally manifest.
Bring out.
It can be good for your creative side too.
And bring out courage as well, because fire gone mad can take unnecessary risks sometimes, and that might be uncomfortable if your boss is that type, if it's that entrepreneurial type.
Too alpha, too driven.
Too driven, I mean, the Aries boss is your classic, very Aries is your classic sort of entrepreneur, your pioneer, wants to do something new for the shorter term, set it up and then move on and let someone else administer it and see it through. And then you've got
great
Leo.
If you're the administrative sort.
You
don't mind picking up where your boss has just kind of rushed off to the next bit.
But I have to say, one of the things with fire, it's often accused of a lack of empathy because it's dry. But I don't. I think fire can be very, very. It often looks at people in terms of as being the saviour. Fire often wants to. So if somebody is struggling, there's an odd sort of duality here, because on the one hand, fire will try to pull people up with it. It usually will try to jolly people along and motivate, but on the other hand, it can lose patience if they see somebody as being a wet blanket.
That's very true.
Fire.
So you can feel rather hurt, actually. Because fire is not necessarily known for huge amounts of emotional sensitivity. And if you are,
it's enormously generous, but not particularly sensitive.
that's the thing. Nice way of putting it.
I like one way they usually express like, I can do that, so you can do.
Yes.
Another one they go, no, I can't.
As you guys, I'm an Aries sun, and that comes out in my teaching when I'm teaching. And my students, one of the other lecturers once said of me that I'm not a slave driver like Marcus is. No, I'm not a slave driver. And my students were like, yeah, you are. You give us loads. Like, do I? I can see that.
What about the Leo boss? Leo traditionally wants to be the king of the realm, and they want to be noticed and appreciated. Any more thoughts on if your boss is a Leo?
Yeah. If your boss is a Leo, he likes to be praised, like he or she. Likes to be recognised for the skill that he has. He or she. I keep saying he or she, but I'll say he, because it makes life easier. But I mean, good women too. Right? But on the other hand, the creativity of the Leo boss, is actually fantastic for kind of giving you ideas, getting you to move on, to wake your own brain up. It can be great.
But that's the essence of Leo, isn't it? The creative expression at best.
But also, Leo can dominate.
You talk about
Leo likes to be in the centre.
Have to be acknowledged as being the ones who are in charge. Fully. I don't think they're not needy like that, and they actually don't. I don't think Leos like flattery. They don't like it insincere, but they'll like appreciation, like a bit of genuine appreciation. Just recognise my status. Is the kind of thing.
There's a lot of warmth in Leo as well. There's a lot of warmth.
I think all the fire signs are incredibly generous, usually as bosses, but they're also very intolerant of what they perceive as wet blanketry, as in like okay, I've told you twice that this is what we're doing, and I've given you some encouragement, and you're still upset. Do you know what I mean?
Sagittarius bosses, they're the types that have the big grand vision. They have the faith. They're the one that want to deliver something big, and they might not necessarily be able to dig down into the details. What thoughts on Sagittarian bosses?
Okay, I think.
Well,
go on.
Sorry, I was going to say, one thing about Sagittarius is that it's often had this great vision, and it's sort of miles ahead of itself. You can see how this could go. Sometimes, however, Sagittarius bosses kind of miss the little details. If you're the kind of person that is pretty good at details, then you may get on quite well.
Great
actually,
team,
because you can point out, it makes the team rounded.
Don't forget, Sagittarius is famous for exaggeration, so watch out for exaggeration. So if everything's brilliant, everything's going to be super brilliant. If everything's really bad, everything's probably going to be super bad. So that exaggeration of a Leo, of a Sagittarius, because at worst, a fire boss can be actually the con artist. They sort of drags you along with their vision, and makes you take risks you don't want to take. But that's.
Do you think con artist or somebody who's so drawn into their own vision that they're dragging people potentially down a bad path, but they're like, so come on guys,
take a gamble, not necessarily deliberately. So don't worry if you've got a fire boss that they're not who they seem.
Not terribly good at receiving advice, because they actually have their own ideas. They know what they want, they know where they're going. But in order to be able to get through to a fiery boss, I think you have to just kind of calm things down, sort of say something very pleasant to them without being insincere, and then think, have you thought about it this way? And give them a different inspiration. Perhaps.
And usually
calm them down.
Depending on the rest of the chart, but if somebody has a sun in fire, although they might not take that on board initially, they will usually eventually take on board feedback. Even an Aries like me doesn't usually appreciate being told what I'm doing wrong in the moment, but then after a bit of reflection, because it's like the opposite, isn't it? So the opposite of all fire signs is an air sign, which is about dialogue. So they might find it a bit unnatural to talk about what they want to do before they do it.
Yeah.
But it's usually ends up being constructive and appreciated.
However, fire
eventually.
signs, don't we think, are quite intuitive. They can be quite intuitive. They
Yes,
sort of
they
get an
do.
idea of
Yeah.
things. They might
Yeah.
know without
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
thinking about it. They
Yeah.
just have an intuition about things,
Yeah.
which is a great. That is part of that
A
vision
useful
again, and part of
trait.
that knowing what other people are really thinking around them,
Yes.
feeling that.
And they might have their moments of being carried away with their own brilliance.
Yes, with their own brilliance.
Yes.
Excellent. Next, we're going to be talking about Earth bosses. If your boss is a sun sign in Earth,
Or have lots of elements.
or have a lot of Earth
Yeah,
in
yeah,
their
that's
chart.
fine. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.